Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, go ahead and leave a 5-star review. Got a lot of stand-up dates coming up. Very excited to do stand-up in places that don't require a vaccine. August 12th, I'll be headlining Bird and Betty's on the Jersey Shore in Beach Haven, New Jersey. Then I'm heading to New Orleans August 13th and 14th, the Comedy House out there doing 4 shows. And then, wow, I've got a little whiteboard right here with my dates on it. Then I'll be in Vegas with Comedians of the Compound, September 10th and 11th. The Plaza Hotel in there. There's a club called the Comedy Works. That's where we'll be. And then I'll be heading back to Texas, September 17th and 18th, headlining the Hyenas Club out there in Dallas. And then October 16th, Lakewood, New Jersey, with Comedians of the Compound. We'll be doing a stadium show out there. And then October 22nd, 23rd, I'm going to Santa Monica to do Broadway Comedy Club West to see what's left of California. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Cushy Dreams. They are my go-to for all things high quality CBD related. Go to cushydreams.com. That's KUSHY dreams.com. At the checkout, use promo code CMP. You're going to get 20% off your whole order. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. You can enjoy all the health benefits of CBD without getting like the wacky tobacco does. You know what I mean? You're not going to go out to lunch. You're not going to get high and weird and the munchies and whatnot. I like it. It calms down my mind and body. I prefer the pre-rolls. They also sell it in like kind of like a bud in these tins here. Different blends. If you want to be a little bit more up, maybe you do like a hustle blend or an energy blend. If you want to be a little relaxed before bed, do dream, do peace. That's the beauty of indica and sativa. You can kind of pick what you want to do. Good stuff, high quality, great packaging. I think it's helped me with my anxiety a ton. So go to cushydreams.com. That's cushy with a K, dreams.com, and use promo code CMP at checkout. All right. On to my favorite guest. One of my favorites, probably my favorite today so far. He's a friend. He is the host of the Sharpe Way show here on YouTube. He's also the 2018 gubernatorial candidate for New York. He ran as a Libertarian. Also responsible for my kind of, I call it yellow pilling, a Libertarian red pilling in a way. He sort of broke me out of my dumb liberal mold, kind of like once and for all. So I have a lot. I owe him many thanks. Larry Sharpe, welcome to the program.
Awesome. It's called gold pilling. Just
Gold
so you're clear.
pilling. Oh,
Gold
that's
pilling.
great.
Yes.
I
I
didn't
go
know
out
it
of
was
my
a
way
thing.
to gold pill as many people as I possibly can. It is one of my missions. And I'm so happy that you're here. And I'm going to accept and simply say that you said I am your favorite guest because that makes me feel good. So you just said that. That's it.
You're definitely my favorite guest. Yeah, because you can talk in like and you don't shut up, but in the best way possible. Like you're so
That's true.
passionate and you're so smart. And like you're even in a gold room.
I
Like
am
you're like
because I'm
gold
gold
member.
pilling.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
You're like, I love
100%.
gold.
Zafaza. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. I'm sorry. Yes. So anyway,
Yeah.
I am happy that you're doing what you're doing. I mean, I say that I'm gonna pump your head up a little bit now, just so you know it's gonna come. So just relax. Don't like fly out the room or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying you are someone who is far more than a comedian, and I've been saying this for years. People always say the same thing. Why you spend so much time with that crazy Chrissy girl?
Do people really say that to you?
Never. I completely made that up. But it sounded cool. It did
She's
sound
bad
cool.
for your brand. I wouldn't
She's
even be
bad
surprised.
for you. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But no, but people do notice that I do spend a lot of time with you. They do know that. And so I said, because she's special. She's more than just a comedian. She's a comedian, but she's also an activist, but she's also an MC. She's also a personality. She's also she's a reporter. She's all types of things. And she is the special one. So that's why I'm here.
Wow. Yeah, you've really like inspired me, Larry. Like when I've done so many of these like interviews and stuff, and people are like, "Oh, how'd you get into comedy? How'd you go from being like a brainwashed liberal to like whatever it is you are now?" Like
The weird thing you are now. Yes.
whatever this is. And I'm like, Larry Sharpe, man. Like I found him in 2018, and I'll like never forget, like, holding a sign and just like when we were in Grand Central, and it's just like, I don't know, not to blow your head up too much, but like kind of inspired me to just like fuck it and go for it. Like go for what
There
you
we go.
believe, and like
Yes.
whether there's 2 people behind you or 2,000 people behind you, like it's worth it. It's like worth the risk. Like anybody can talk the talk, but to like walk
Yes.
the walk, that's why I realized like, you know what, if these mandates in New York City really happen, then like I'm not going to have much of a city to perform to anyway, because so many
But
people are going to be
you've
knocked
made
out.
a valid point here. What you're thinking is not, you're not alone in this, right? If you look at what's happened in New York City lost about 1 million people. About 500,000 of those were workers. The other half were those who somehow support workers, spouses, children, things of that sort, right? But about 1 million people left. They only think about half are coming back. Just imagine that. Half aren't coming back, right? And the problem with that is you might go, well, Larry, that's bad, but so what? We have 8.5 million people. We'll go to 8. No, when you have 500,000 people who leave this city, that's the population. That's more than the population of every other city in New York State. There's no other city in New York
Whoa.
State that has a population higher than about 400,000. That's about the highest we have. That's Buffalo. And all the rest are lower than that, right? So that's the entire city moving away. So who supports them? That's the most important piece. If you're in a city, you go to restaurants, maybe you go to a dry cleaner, maybe you have a guy who fixes your shoes. Who knows what you have? But now all of those people feel the pinch too. The MTA, still in debt, still, spending so much money, it's only got to about 40 to 50% of its ridership. And now you're
Wow.
going to lock it down even more? How is it ever going to come back? How is the bus system going to come back? How is the school system going to function? Right? It simply can't. It's just basic math. Our budget goes up and our population goes down. That means you're going to pay more taxes and more people are going to leave. And it's a horrible cycle. We've been losing people for the past 10 years straight. You probably
Even before the pandemic. Yeah,
That's
even before
correct.
the pandemic, I remember you talking about like they're all going to Florida, they're all going to North Carolina. People, even then, even like when there's no such thing as the pandemic, you were like, we're already losing people to these
Yes.
cities, to these states.
Yes. But the worst part is back then it was mostly middle class people who were leaving. That's what was happening. It was mostly middle class people who were waiting for their elderly parent to pass, or who didn't want to leave the state because they lived here, right? Or because their child would get out of college or get out of high school, whatever. Then they would leave, or they got their pension, right? They retired, got their pension to the pension, and went to Tennessee or went to Florida. Now who's leaving? The wealthy are leaving. That's a problem. There are 85,000 New York City residents who pay 50% of the taxes.
How many?
85,000 pay 50% of the taxes of an 8 million person city.
Ooh.
And they're leaving because what most people don't get is that when you're wealthy in New York City, and you know this, you have 2 homes if you're wealthy. You have one in New York City and one someplace else, whether that's Florida
an
or
apartment,
Georgia.
maybe your beach house. I go to the
Absolutely.
country. I go to the country house.
Absolutely, So now when you have that, well, now COVID locked you out. So you went there and started working. Well, now you're making money from the cool other house that you used to just hang out in. Well, then why would you come back to Manhattan? A lot of them aren't. They're not coming back.
They're lowering rents, but like I hear friends who are like for some reason doing a Hail Mary pass and moving to New York now, and they tell me like the rents, and I'm like, yeah, they're not even that much lower. Like they should be dirt cheap.
Yes.
And the fact that they're not, like they should be giving away apartments. And the fact that they're not,
Can
I'm
you
like,
just live here so it doesn't rot? Can you just do that, please? Here's your rent. Sweep. That's your rent. Your rent is here's a broom, sweep. Do that. Yes.
Yeah, it's all very suspect, and this was a crazy week. Like DeBlasio announced that all these mandates are going to start happening in New York City yesterday. Also, the same day, all this Cuomo stuff is coming out. You got to think like that can't be by accident. Why do you feel like New York City is in such a rush to put these mandates into place? To me, it sounds like it's what you're saying. A lot of people have already left. The folks who remain either are too poor to leave, can't leave, or have to stay because of family obligations or work obligations. So does DeBlasio feel like, well, I've got these people by the balls, they're stuck, let's
You got to
let's
remember
do
how
what I want.
New York State actually works here, right? The reason why, in theory, the governor and the mayor should work hand in hand. They're both Democrats. It should work. It doesn't because of a very important reason. DeBlasio is a true believer. This guy really believes. I mean, he believes that, okay, Chrissy, I know I take 70% of everything you make, but just give me 75%. And then we'll have that socialist utopia. Okay, maybe 80%. No more than 85%. Okay, maybe 90%. And then we will have that socialist utopia I've been telling you about for decades. He believes that. That's why when he's a chance, he hammers because he believes it's true. Cuomo doesn't. Cuomo's a Cuomoist. Cuomo would be whatever. He'd be a Republican tomorrow if he thought he could still win. He'd become libertarian. He'd be a communist. He'd be whatever. He doesn't care. He just wants to be in charge.
Wow.
He's simply power hungry. And the reason why Democrats now are turning against him is because they never believed in him ever. They always thought he was a usurper and that he wasn't real. They always thought that. They just feared him. Now he's finally collapsing. So if this was the reverse, this is DeBlasio, the left will get behind DeBlasio because he's a true believer. That's why no one's mad at DeBlasio. The terrible mayor that DeBlasio's been. You don't see Democrats attacking him. True believer. Cuomo's not a true believer. They finally got a chance at him and they attacked him because they know he's all about himself. He doesn't care about the cause. He's not a real socialist, right? He's not. So that's why he's doing it now, DeBlasio, because he can. Think about it. He's only got, what, 4 months left in office?
Cuomo?
No, DeBlasio.
Oh, wow.
4 months left in office. He could just cruise. He's like, no. Ooh, I got a chance. I'm in. Cuz true believer. He really believes this stuff.
So he's a true believer and he's trying to throw down these mandates as one last like grandstand before he's out. What? 100%. How could that help him going forward? Does it sound like he might run for some other office?
Maybe he runs for governor, maybe, but that isn't his point. That guy thought he could run for president. Do you understand what a true believer he is?
Mm-hmm.
And he gained nothing. Like other people gained stuff. Like Harris, amazing, ran for president, was terrible, and is the VP. Well done.
Dreams can come true. You don't even have to be good at running, and you can get there.
You can suck at everything and still win.
You don't even have to get enough votes. It can still happen.
Absolutely. So DeBlasio couldn't even do that. But, Harris did. Look, a lot of people who ran for office, they got someplace because of it. DeBlasio's still stuck in the same spot, but he hasn't given up. Why? True believer. I'm telling you, this guy is a true believer. He actually believes that this is going to work.
He seems really out of touch.
100%. That's absolutely true.
It's like New York is on life support. Like, yes, people have come back. Yes, there are more bodies walking around than there was last year, but it just doesn't feel the same. Like Broadway is trying to find its way back again. I would always say okay, as soon as Broadway's back, I'll start thinking New York has a chance. Well, Broadway's back now. And it's just, I feel like a lot of people that could do their jobs remotely moved out and have no reason to come back. Absolutely true. It's so true. And people just don't want to believe it. And they think that, well, we've had problems before. But here's the thing to remember. If your audience isn't in New York City, it may not be obvious for them. But if you're in New York City, you get this completely. New York City was a 16 million metro person area. So if you're looking for talent, oh my God, it's here, right? Particularly female talent. Particularly looking for female talent. Tough to find a city that has more female talent than New York City. I mean, tough. 1/3 of our population isn't born in the country. Another 1/3 isn't born in the city. So it's a mecca for talented people to come here. So if you're looking to hire people, oh my God. If you're looking for a customer base, oh my God. But now we just found out the only difference is we found out that they don't have to live here for you to get the talent. Right. And so you don't have to. Wait, finish what you were going to say. And so the 16 million person metro area has a whole lot less value now. And you can get your talent anywhere. You can pay them less because they're working from home. Or maybe they're living in Iowa. In which case, if I got to bring you to New York City to work in New York City, I got to pay you 6 figures. Yeah, the commute just to buy lunch, that's $100 right there. These pre-made salads, Larry, you go over two toppings, that's a $15 salad right there. There we go, right there. So, but if you live in Iowa,
I can pay you 50 grand a year. You're happy. I'm happy. Life is good.
Yeah, you're in Iowa eating expired Dunkaroos for free. That's what I had today. That's why I said that.
They eat expired Dunkaroos in
Yeah, I
Iowa.
realized
Okay,
they
you
were.
just insulted all of Iowa, but
I
it's fine.
realized the Dunkaroos were expired like on my last cookie, and I was like, "Oh God, now I don't feel so good." But I didn't want to cancel.
Did you get sick?
No, I'm gonna I'm gonna push through. I'm having a truly.
If you want to hurl, I won't be insulted.
I only hurled during one interview I've ever done in like a year and a half. I was actually interviewing Jackie Martling. It was right after I came back from Mexico. Whole trip, didn't drink the water, didn't get sick. It was like all inclusive, like one of these deal places. And sure enough, like my boyfriend had ramen in the Cancun airport. Ramen. Who has ramen in Mexico? My boyfriend does. And he ate the whole thing like, oh, this is so good. I had like a couple spoons of it. Within 24 hours, we were both like hurling and like other stuff was happening. Thank God we had 2 bathrooms is all I had to say.
Hold on. Other stuff was happening. Please
other
tell me what other stuff was happening.
coming out of our butts.
Got it. Okay. So you had it you had it on 2 levels. Good.
Yeah,
okay.
there was like a head. Thankful for the 1.5 baths in our apartment. So
gotcha.
Why was I talking about that? Oh yeah, I was interviewing Jackie Martling like the next day. I was like, I can do it. I'm not gonna cancel. And I puked like as soon as our interview finished, like all over the place that I had like rented. It was really bad. I had to go get a security guard and be like, I just puked. It was bad. It was really bad. I think I scared him away. But the point is, New York City.
The point is we're in trouble, and the value that New York City has had, you're not going to see it have much the same value as it is. It's going to be a tourist city. A lot of business is going to go away. I think culture will stay here, though, right? I mean, we are a cultural mecca. I think that will still happen. But DeBlasio was going to make things, tough right now. Things are going to be tough right now once he leaves. I mean, think about who we elected or electing in the process of, which is Eric Adams. Eric Adams is, he's a former Republican, a former cop, and he won the Democratic primary. When Maya Wiley was there, right, there was someone who was far left to go there. And Yang, he was popular. So you could have got a popular guy if you wanted a popular guy. Yang, he was there for you. Maya Wiley, who's a hardcore leftist, you could have got her if you wanted to. And they picked the former cop, former Republican.
That's interesting.
New York City's saying, I think we're done with DeBlasio.
New York City is looking for a daddy, it sounds like. It sounds like they need somebody to like whip the city into shape, bring back faith in the NYPD.
Well, think about how tone deaf DeBlasio is. Right? That election should show him that the city doesn't like him at all. They literally voted in the opposite of they voted in Bizarro DeBlasio. Like literally the opposite DeBlasio is who they voted in. And he's like, I'm going to keep going. I'm not done. Why? What guy would do that? True believer.
Wow. Yeah, he is very out of touch. And it's so true what you said about talent. Like I moved out of the city 4 years ago and I thought it was gonna torpedo my career. I was like, how do I not live in shitty Brooklyn apartment or Astoria apartment? Like I have to be, 30 minutes away at all costs. And now it's an asset. The last 1.5 years has proved that it's an asset to live away from a big city. It's like you can have a comedy, YouTube, like whatever career and not have to live any particular place. So
I haven't been in the commuting world since February of last year. So now I only travel when I have to go someplace. I used to go into Manhattan almost every day, right? Almost every day. I'd be in some office, some company almost every day for my day job. That's what I would do. Now it's all via Zoom or via StreamYard or whatever. It's very rare. When I go into Manhattan, it's because like my daughter has to meet someone for her college application in Manhattan. Like that's the reason. Otherwise, I don't go in.
Yeah. And how long was your commute?
Depends. If I went down to Wall Street, it's about an hour.
Yeah.
If I went to Wall Street. If not Wall Street, my office in Manhattan, which I shut down because I don't need it anymore. So I had an office in Manhattan. That was probably 35 minutes. That's it. Half an hour.
Yeah.
And now it's my house.
You're doing what lots of people are doing. You're like, oh, it doesn't pay to keep paying rent in the city. Why would you?
Exactly. Why bother? But I have a worse part now. now my wife's like, why do we live in New York City anymore? And I'm like, you got a point. Like, why do I live here now? Like, the reason why I lived here, not just because I'm born here, obviously. I mean, I'm born in Manhattan. I am a city boy. It's true. But the main reason why I lived here is all my clients were in Manhattan. All the money was in Manhattan. So I was making my big dollars in Manhattan. So of course I would stay here. But now if it doesn't matter anymore, why am I here?
Do you agree with this anonymous comment from the chat? New York City is a money laundering paradise. I'm guessing the nonprofits, etc. That's pretty interesting. I've seen a lot of like this one store on the Upper East Side that just sells like hats and like fascinators has remained in business. And I'm like, there's no way they're not selling drugs. Like, there's no way anyone's buying fascinators right now.
Remember, though, they're not actually selling drugs. Right? No, seriously, this is how money laundering works. And he gets it. They don't act. Have you ever seen the movie, the Netflix show Breaking Bad? It was AMC.
Yes, I love that show.
And they use the car wash as a place to put cash in. All the businesses are cash businesses. They're not selling the drugs. They're laundering the money, right? You can't buy drugs out of the store. But all of a sudden, the store makes a bunch of money. And every year it seems to lose like $200,000 every year. What a coincidence. So it just keeps losing money. Well, that's the money it's laundering. So they absolutely launder money, but they don't actually sell the drugs there. Happens all the time. And black market, right? Black market all over the place here.
All markets matter, Larry. Super chat from Daniel Donnelly. Larry Sharpe is a hero who inspires me every day. I'm with you, Daniel.
Thank you. Absolutely. Look, the issue that I want to bring up with the black market is we keep wondering why there's so much violence in the cities right now, particularly New York City. And we go, well, it's because defund the police, or because we need more cops, or because the laws are bad. That's not the reason why it's bad. It's bad for one important reason. Black market. You locked everybody down. So now these people can't do regular work because they can't go to work. But not just that, you're writing them all checks. So they're all getting checks. And that means if they go to work, they lose their checks. So they don't want to go to work. So they have to work off the books. So now even work is black market. So it's not just drugs. It's just regular work is black market. So I can keep getting my check. But here's the problem, Chrissy. If you say, Larry, come help me, whatever, fix my apartment. I go, yeah, sure. How much? You go, well, what, $400? Great. So I go fix it. $400. You go, I'm not paying you. Well, it's black market. I can't call the cops. I can't do anything. So what am I going to do?
There's no contract or anything, right? Yeah.
I'm street justice. That's how it works. Every single time you find massive amounts of any type of group violence, every single time it is black market. Every time, without exception, it's people either selling drugs or people are selling things like wood and lumber black market now. So everything's black market because they don't want to work because then they lose their checks.
Of course. So that makes sense.
So they don't want to do anything in the regular market. So you want to end the violence, end the black market. The violence goes away. And the example of that is the 1920s prohibition. When we ended prohibition, literally the violence went down. Now people go, well, Larry, that's dumb because there's mean and evil people. There are. But to make the violence bad, you have to recruit others. And most people are opportunistic, not evil. So if the evil people can't recruit others because they're working or doing something better, then you have less violence. It's literally that simple.
So the uptick in violence we're seeing in New York City now is not just because people are bored and locked down or like, they missed going on dates. It's like they're doing black market deals that go south and street justice.
Absolutely. Now, the other thing, though, is to be forward. There's a part of what you said also true. There's a lot of people, not everybody, obviously, but a lot of people who actually, gain a lot of their respect or power or influence through their work, right? That's how they make money. That's how they become cool, whatever the case may be. Well, now I don't have that anymore. So now when, Bad Pablo decides, hey, come help me, knock over a liquor store, they go, yeah, what the hell, let's do it.
Because you have to maintain your status. Yeah, your street cred, as they say.
Absolutely. 100%. Yes. So, absolutely. Sorry, I think I'm missing an inside joke in your chat.
Really?
I think so. Your Quint is telling me to sell vacuums. Is that
I
an
don't
inside
understand.
joke?
No, I don't understand that. Daniel is saying Larry Sharpe should move to Poughkeepsie in Dutchess County. I guess that's where he is.
Yeah, he is there. Yes, he is. He's not in Poughkeepsie, but he's in Dutchess County.
Oh.
Yes.
I wonder if I met him at like one of the
vacuum joke is from In Hot Water.
The vacuum joke is from In Hot Water.
Oh,
Oh.
I had a feeling it had to be an inside joke. I'm like, why would he keep saying
Wait,
it?
how is that? Explain
If it wasn't an inside joke. Oh, okay. Thank you, Quint. Thank you for that. Yes. Okay, good. I'm like, he's got to have some kind of inside joke. Why would you say that? Yes, when I was in Hot Water, the crazy guys over there, which I keep going to all the time, which I probably should stop, decided that they would have a guy who, I'm teasing. I love the guys. I'll go back again. It's fine. They did a joke for me running for governor, and they had a guy put a vacuum on his private parts and basically turn it on and say, vote for Larry Sharpe or something. So that's what he means. It's a vacuum.
Is it like
I wasn't selling vacuums.
A Cuomo sucks kind of a thing?
Oh, I like that, Quint.
Sucks.
That's it. We'll use that same thing. Cuomo sucks.
Vacuums up his own junk. That to me, that's like an easy.
See that? You do it. You're better than them. See that? Absolutely. I love that.
Neuromancer, shameless plug time, Chrissie Mayr and Larry Sharpe live at Stand Up New York on Thursday, November 4th. Can't wait. No bias.
Total bias, and I don't care.
If Stand Up New York requires a vaccine to get in, that's gonna get interesting.
It's gonna get a problem. It's gonna be a problem.
It's gonna be a problem. I want to do this show, but I've made this very public statement that I'm not gonna work anywhere in city that requires it. So what do you think, Larry? Do you think can DeBlasio really set forth these mandates, or is he just testing us, or is he just trying to like shoot for the moon before his term is over?
Well, the sad part is, I think he doesn't care if he can or not. Again, true believer, it's not his issue. He thinks he should just do it. It's right, so I'm doing it for you. And if you hear people on the left who are talking right now, they're very righteous about this. They're not at all upset.
Yeah,
they're not. They're like, they're saying things like, "Oh, I'm tired of supporting these non-vaxxers and blah blah blah." I get that all the time.
They're all about a caste system. They're like, "Get these peasants out of here."
Yes. So I think he's going to try it. My hope is that it won't work. But if you look at our council, our city council, they're on board. There was a guy on TV. I've forgotten his name. He came on Good Morning New York or some show like that, and he said we should all be wearing masks to show solidarity. I mean, he literally just said the reality that it's not about the protection. It's about, are you one of us? Are you one of us? Will you show you're one of us?
Yeah.
Yes. So I think that's what it's about. So the problem is, once you walk down a road and you make everything political, how do you walk it back? Right? Once we've politicized everything, masks shouldn't be political. And if there was no mandate, it wouldn't be. But the mandate is what makes it political by default. So once we politicize this, now it's left versus right. Now you got to pick a team. This is why I so often jump on the libertarian side, because it's the only side that says, if you want to wear a mask, awesome. If you don't, awesome. If you want to get a vaccine, awesome. If you don't, awesome. All good. Just let me be who I want to be, and you do you, I'll do me, and life is good.
Why can't we do that?
I would like someone to tell me that. They can't. It drives me crazy. This should not be political. It should be you. If you're in your 60s and you got a pre-existing condition, you should get a vaccine. You don't have to. I'm not going to force you, but you probably should. I mean, you're there. And if your kids are, under 12, why are you vaccinating them? Why would you do that? Now, you're a kid. You want to vaccinate your kids, go ahead. Ugh. But I don't know why you're doing it. I have no idea. I don't want to vaccinate my kids. My daughter's 11. Why do I want to vaccinate her? But people think I'm crazy for saying that.
Why would healthy people with immune systems for something that's 90+% survivable, and we don't know the long-term effects yet. So.
Absolutely. But again, you can still say what you feel. You don't lose your First Amendment rights being a libertarian. You can still say what you feel. Like, again, I think if you're over 65 and in a pre-existing condition, you should get a vaccine. That's my opinion. And I get to say that. It's my First Amendment right. I can say that. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to.
Yet Joe Rogan, because he's so high profile, he says what he feels, that if you're a young, healthy person, why would you need to get one? But they came for his head for that.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. But this goes to the other piece. That you talk about often. You talk about the idea of people being afraid to stand up and to say things. Many people who are afraid of being canceled, and it's true. It's a problem. And what winds up happening is only the powerful can do what they want. So Joe Rogan can say what he wants. You can't cancel Joe Rogan, right? You just can't, right? It's impossible. You can't
Pelosi can get her hair done. Newsom can go to
can't
whatever
cancel
restaurant.
them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't cancel Dave Chappelle, right? So the powerful get to do whatever they want. And the little guys aren't even heard. And the middle guys, we get canceled because we try to move up and they go, no, you said the wrong thing.
You don't support the message. Yeah, you're out.
Absolutely.
You're a gay conservative. You're out,
Bingo. Sadly, I think your Trat's bringing this up. A lot of it's about team sports. Are you on our team or not? Absolutely. Yeah. It's a problem. It is a problem.
So you're thinking this could happen.
I think what you're doing is right. I like what you're doing. You're taking a stance. I hope it doesn't crush your career. I don't think it will. I think it's the right move. It is a risk, which is why I love you, because you'll take a risk. It's amazing. Good for you. And hopefully you'll show others. Hopefully others will watch and go, I should be like that cool person, Chrissy. I'm going to be like her. I hope people will do that. That'd be amazing.
You can't opt out. Like it's now or never, right? Why would we wait till it's fully happening?
And that's the other big issue, right? Most people don't get is that there has to be a concept, that the base concept is you own your life. That has to be the base concept. You own your life. And then maybe there are exceptions. And of course there are, right? If I want to start starting fires that's going to kill people, okay, stop me. Yes, right? I own my own life, but I can't affect others. So, but the base has to be you own your own life. We are losing that. Our base is government owns our life. The people own our lives, right? Society owns our lives. That's becoming the base. And now we get the exceptions from that. That's the wrong way of looking at it. I get there will be exceptions. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater, right? I get it. There's exceptions. But the base has to be you own your life. I was just on Green Room, which is the Spotify version of Clubhouse.
Ooh.
Yes, it's very good. You can record it. You can make it a podcast. It's great. I was just on it. And a guy was on, his name is Sam, and he was talking about how he used to be involved with his church deeply. And a part he was that he dealt with was people who were ending their life, people who were close to the end, very ill patients. And he said, as people get closer to the end of life and they know they're on their way out, each day becomes more important to them. And the value of now is more important than a maybe later. So those people don't want to be locked up, even if you think they should be, which is my point. If you're over 65 that pre-existing condition, you should get a vaccine, or you shouldn't go to church. You should find another way. You know what? Maybe that person's faith is more important to them than ever. And they're okay sacrificing or risking their life for their faith. That's fine. I don't get to decide that, right? That's the issue.
Yeah, and maybe they want to go out with a bang, like
maybe all these, they do.
How many movies have been made about the terminally ill person who's like, fuck it, I'm going to go to Nepal and ride a goat into the sunset or whatever. Like, and you haven't been able to do that in the last year and a half.
Yes, and we think we're saving them. We're crushing them. There are people who died in nursing homes alone, all by themselves. No one could see them. No closure, no nothing. What a cruel society we are to think we're doing the right thing by stepping in and saying, you can't see your loved one. They're already down on a respirator. They're already sitting there. What are you going to give them, COVID twice? Stop. What is wrong with us? And you know what? If I want to risk getting COVID to see my dying mother,
you should be able
to stop me.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe I don't. Maybe I decide, well, I've got kids or I have a grandparent who's older and in trouble, so I don't want to do it. That's also my right. It's my family. I should decide for myself. And it sounds crazy, I know. But the problem is before it's funny, they had a better argument before the vaccine, but they're harsher now they have the vaccine. Before the vaccine, you could say, well, you might infect somebody else and kill them, right? Okay, at least that was a better argument. Now the argument is, well, you might infect yourself and kill yourself.
Yeah. Why do you care more about
Yes.
myself? You should be focusing on you, not obsessed with what I do. It's honestly like a thinly veiled, very selfish thing.
Yes, it is. Thank you. It's a self-righteous, I'm smarter, better than you. This is why, and this is, if they're Democrats watching, they're going to be unhappy with them saying the left is in trouble. And the sad part is most of them don't see it.
Even though they seem like
they think they're winning.
Big man
they
on
believe
campus.
They're winning. They're not winning. And let me give you two things that people may not get. That's just is to be clear. And one is a kind of pushback against Republicans. One's a pushback against Democrats. Many Republicans believe that Trump was almost magical in getting people of color to vote for him. He was very good at doing that. He wasn't. What he was good at was making it neutral. He just didn't care, right? But the reality is there are many people of color, Black and Hispanic, who are conservative. Many of them are, but they would still vote Democrat. Why? Because the image was Republicans hate us. That was the emotion.
You ain't black.
That was the image.
That whole thing.
That's Biden's thing. Yeah, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Exactly right. That's a common thought process in the Black and brown communities across our country. What Trump did is just go, aren't you guys getting money? What's wrong with you? You're doing well. Stop. That's it. But he didn't go welcome in. He just opened the door. He said the door's open. What actually happened is the left pushed them out because the left became the loud left, not the whole left. The loud left became so far left that the conservatives in the brown and Black community said, I just can't do this. I can't.
Yeah.
And they voted Republican. So Trump didn't make more liberals conservative. He made more people of color conservatives vote Republican.
Wow.
Now, why do I say that matters? Because that means a bunch of people who used to never even imagine voting Republican have just said, you know what? Maybe I will. That door is now opened. And that's because they got pushed out by the loud left. The problem with the loud left was Trump was a uniter. He united the left. All the left hated Trump, and they would all get together to go anti-Trump.
Still obsessed with him, even though
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So the far left thought, oh, that means you love us. That means you actually want all the crazy stuff that we want. You want to defund the police. You want socialism. You want to destroy the medical system. You want all those things. And the average Democrat was like, no, we just hate Trump.
Right.
We're just with you.
Did you see
because
what we
you
did?
hate Trump.
Yeah. Do you see what we did to Bernie? We're not with you.
Yeah, we're not with you at all. We just hate Trump. So now Trump's gone and the left is in trouble. They don't know how to act. And so as the loud left goes, I'm sure you see it. I know lots of people in New York City. Most of my friends are Democrats. And a whole lot of my Democrat friends are saying, you know, I'm considering voting Republican. A whole lot are. Many of them are asking me.
Don't tell anybody. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's the next thing.
Yeah.
Don't say anything,
the
Larry.
left, they're so big on outing each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what they're coming to me. They're saying things like, oh my God, Larry, you're running. Because they want to support anybody but the far left. Anybody but the far left. And they're actually worried someone like DeBlasio is going to run for governor if Cuomo goes, which is why I think Cuomo might actually stay. Cuomo might stay.
What I've been reading today,
yes,
supports that. Like a lot of people close to him, advisors are saying, "Fight, stay."
Yeah, because what they're worried is if Cuomo doesn't run, a Bernie lefty shows up to replace him. And Democrats are worried about that. Now, Republicans love that because
Kathy Hochul is next to step in. Hochul is next to step in. And I've read that she is a little bit more right.
Okay. I'm going to nothing bad on Hochul. Yes, he tried to pick someone who was a little bit more right and upstate because that's what you do when you're lieutenant governor. I know. I did the same thing. That's what you do when you run. You balance the ticket, of course. But she's not a leader or administrator. The odds are if she pops up, she does the same thing Patterson did. When Patterson replaced Spitzer, Patterson said, I'm running. I'm not running again. I'm holding the seat because that was the deal. But once my time comes up, I'm not running again. I think Hochul will do the same thing. Hochul will hold the seat but she's not running again. And I think you're going to find someone like Letitia James run. Someone like her will run. So maybe. But I think their worry is someone like Maya Wiley comes from New York City and tries to run. And they get a Bernie person in. Because remember, so many of the moderate Democrats have left the city. And so many of many Republicans have left the state. It's 3-1 Democrat to Republican in New York State, 6-1 Democrat to Republican in New York City.
Ugh.
Yes. I'm sorry. Am I giving you bad stuff? Am I being too, I don't know, too political with you?
Being too real. No, it's good. It's like I need my dose of Larry realness. Hi, Larry and Chrissy. This is from David Carpenter. I live in Denver. Serious question. Outside of being a Compound Media fan, should it matter to us outside of New York if the city fails? Number one, the pizza. Should it matter?
Yes, go ahead.
I would, not being an expert on this, I would think, well, shoot, if New York goes down, so will LA. I mean, you could argue LA is already kind of pretty banged up right now, but I would think, well, what is going to be like the kind of like spillover effect into other kind of big cities?
Yes, that's the problem, David. Remember, New York City is the battleground. This is the front lines. What all the stuff is tried here in New York first. We were the first and the only group to have a vaccine passport. That's us. If it works here, it's coming to your state.
Pass. Yeah.
Excelsior Pass. Yes.
They were doing it in Madison Square Garden and the Yankee Stadium. And in other places, we're not picking it up, I guess, because they didn't want to lose. Right. Like if more places picked up the Excelsior Pass, we wouldn't need this key to New York bullshit.
Yep.
So what that tells me is like a lot of businesses did not want to exclude not unvaccinated customers.
I went to Yankee Stadium at that time. I took my daughter and 2 buddies of mine. No one checked anything.
Okay.
No one checked anything. No one checked.
How long ago was that?
This is probably 2 months ago. A month ago?
So it's
2 months
show.
ago? Yes. No one checked anything. They were like, we're happy you're here. Please spend money. And of course we did, but it's fine. But the point is, yes. They're like,
so you think they did it to scare away just for show, just to make it look like.
Well, if you notice, that's what DeBlasio was talking about. He's like, if people don't do it, even Cuomo said it, people don't check, it doesn't matter. Because he knows that people weren't checking.
Whoa.
Yes, they weren't checking. Are you telling me you got people walking in the door and you're going to slow everyone down and see if they got their pass? You know how the lines at Yankee Stadium are already? You're going to make it even worse? You want people in.
Do you think that will happen with this, key to New York thing, that they just won't check
I have a feeling this whole thing collapses. I don't think it works. I think
thank God.
I think it fails.
You think it's a logistical nightmare?
That's the reason why. You got to hire more people. It's going to be tough to enforce. And then the story is going to come out. Remember, everything New York City does is always at its core a money grab, right? At its core, it's always a money grab. So once they figure out we're gonna punish you with $150 fine or $5,000 fine or whatever the fine is.
On the Metro North, the signs everywhere. We're gonna give you a $50 fine if we catch you without a mask. I never wore a mask and no one ever fined me. I was thinking like, you know what? I'm ready to pay $50 today. It never happened.
Yes. No, I think that's the point, right? Eventually it becomes difficult and I think it begins to go away. My hope is that they'll realize that while COVID cases are going up, COVID deaths really aren't. So I hope they begin to get that and realize, is it worth it? My other hope is right now the states are flush with money. All the federal Biden bucks came in, right? So they all have cash. So the thing that keeps Cuomo in power is he still has the purse strings.
You mean the people like getting unemployment still, or do you mean like the federal money pouring into the city? Okay.
Yes, the federal money came into the states. States are now flush with cash right now. Relative, they've got some cash from the federal government, so they're gonna have to spend it, which they will, obviously. But that runs out. When that runs out, there's got to be a tax base somewhere. New York State's budget's $212 billion. Only 20 countries and California have a larger budget. That's it. Only the G20 has a larger budget in California. Every other country in the world, New York State has a bigger budget than. Our budget is double Florida's, and they have more people than we have and no state income tax. Yeah.
Where's all this money going?
Yeah, that's a great question. Where's all the money going? Yes, that's a great question. And somehow His Majesty, King Andrew Cuomo II, oh, hail the king, he has $20 million in his account. And the best part is he said it, and so did Letitia James. All the lawsuits against him, taxpayers are paying.
What?
Because the attack is against the office of the executive, which means the office of the executive has to pay for it, which means
so these 11 women who were all sexually harassed by Cuomo all sue and all get a settlement. It's coming out of New York State taxpayer money.
If he's still governor, yep. If he's not governor, no. If he's still governor, yes.
So if they have to pay out while he's still in office, it'll come from the taxpayers. If he resigns or is impeached, and then it'll come out of what, his own pocket?
It's his, because he's not part of the office anymore. They'll
so
change
of course he would want to stay in office as long as possible, because then he doesn't have to pay out any of the settlement
money. It's his words. He said it, and so did it. If you look at, I was watching what she said. She's like, it is against the office of the executive. They didn't say him. Now, will they sue him personally? They might. That's possible. But the question becomes, does he then say, yes, but I'm currently the governor? So that means it has to be against the office of the executive. That's what he has said. Unless the courts stop him, and it's possible they will, but the odds are they won't, because they want to protect themselves too, right? It's in their best interest for them to not be personally responsible, right? So odds are they won't stop him. And then what will happen? He will just have the dollars come out. Look, if a government employee does something wrong, who pays? The municipality, right? If a cop beats you up, if a fireman breaks your house, if an EMT person screws up, the city pays or the municipality pays. That's how it works. He screws up, we pay.
So it's possible that you and I could have literally paid for him to feel up a state trooper. Great.
That's correct.
Great.
Yes. 100%.
Wow.
And all I can tell you, state troopers listening, you could have voted for me, right?
Yeah.
You could have. That was an option for you.
Not going to say you deserved it, but you know, yeah.
I'm not saying you deserved it, but you deserve it. Just say it.
But what were you wearing? No, supposedly the state trooper was like not qualified per se, like hadn't necessarily put in the years, but Cuomo was like wanted to have her on his special detail because she was hot.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you're gonna grab someone's butt, make it a hot butt is all I'm saying, right?
He
if
is
you're gonna
the love gov. You know, I think we just gave Andrew Cuomo a lot of mixed signals. There was a lot of like Cuomo sexual talk going on last year. A lot of people gassing this man up, like for no good reason. And I think it went to his head and he started feeling people up.
He's been doing it for years. People, if anybody ever watches my cool show, by the way, called The Sharpe Way, you can Google it if you want to check out all the cool things.
The Sharpe Way.
But the only person I'm ever mean to, I mean, I'm rarely mean to anybody. Even when people yell at me and call me names, I'm rarely mean, except him. I have really hammered him hard. I've called him harsh names. I've called him a monster for years. Why? Because I knew who he was. And I told people that. The Republicans in this state was so stupid, they kept going, he's corrupt. Corrupt means nothing. Everybody's corrupt if you're in government. I didn't say he's corrupt. I said he's a bad human being. He is a monster. And you remember the story. When I ran in 2018, I'd met many local politicians as I was crossing the state. And one mayor of a town said to me, he said, this is a Democrat. He said, Larry, Cuomo's what happens when the henchman becomes the boss.
Ooh.
And I was like, wow. So I would use that with other people I met. That's what I heard. And of the dozens of people I met, literally zero said no. All either said, yeah, or someone like, yes, yeah. Like, and this is Democrats and Republicans. Democrats didn't like him either. They feared him.
Wow. And
the reason why, if you watch my, I do a radio show out of Western New York called The Free Solution on WYSL in Rochester on Tuesdays. And a lot of people would, either call in or they would, comment how they're angry at their local guy or gal who's not doing anything. And what I would say is, and this is before this happened, I would say, hey, look, guys, give them a little bit of a break. They're up against a monster. They're up against a guy who is vindictive. And I said it's before the retaliation stuff.
Yeah, he
He's
retaliated against the girls that were
yes,
trying to report him.
He is vindictive. He is aggressive, and he holds all the money. So what he will do is say you're a local senator, right, Chrissy? You're a local senator in Westchester, and you're anti-Cuomo. Well, all of a sudden now you need to get a road built, you need a school funded, and all of a sudden I go, you ain't getting no money. That's what he would do.
Ew.
No money. So now you promise that money to your constituents. They don't understand Cuomo said no. They go, Chrissy, you screwed us.
Yeah, you didn't do enough.
You didn't do enough. What's wrong with you, Chrissy? And he knows that, and they know that. So how can you, right? There's only a certain
like a mob boss. He sounds like a mobster.
Yes, that's why I said before.
With nipple rings. Yeah.
Well, I don't mind that part.
No, that's the most charming part about him.
That's probably the best part about him. You're right. That's it. Yeah. So, see, even a monster has one good thing.
Right. The monster with nipple rings.
Yes.
Ruben Christopher Haynes. Larry, what is your opinion on the Second Constitutional Convention of the United States? The corruption with the two major parties is at an insane level with society breaking down. We need stand up, or we need to stand up. Maybe, did he mean stand up comedy? I'm not sure. The dollar will collapse.
Right. Yes. It's funny, right? If I would go back about 4 years, Ruben, I used to be against it. And I was against it because I was scared. I thought that if we had a constitutional convention, that we would simply just make socialism or communism part of our constitution. And we would make things like education's a right, smoking, is a right, standing up and down.
Convention?
It means you want to get the convention together and rewrite or re-talk about the Constitution, make adjustments, shift, all that type of stuff, reorganize basically. And I was afraid of it. I was against it. I have changed my mind. Because we're going down that route anyway, right? It's slow or it's fast. I wish we weren't, right? So if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I would have said, no, terrible idea. They're going to turn this into a communist state. I have changed my mind. I've been watching what's happening. We're already going there.
Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa.
Yes. We need more than prayers though. But yes, we're going there, and I'd rather us get there and bring it to the forefront and actually get what we want out. Let people hear about it. Let people talk about it. Be able to actually have a chat and a talk and maybe get some people to agree with us or at least hold up some ideas. The problem is we're often not being heard. People don't get it. How do I know that? Because when I talk to people about the things that we talk about, very often they go, oh, how come I never heard that before? How come I never realized that before? So I think that we're not going to go there fast. I think in reality, we'll get more converts if we do it. That's been my thought process. Now, am I open to change back? Maybe, but I was afraid. I'm no longer.
What made you change your mind? Any one particular thing?
I think it was enough. Believe it or not, it was me getting Democrats to vote for me. That's what it was. It was me getting Democrats to vote for me. The more Democrats voted for me, the more I realized maybe we could fix this. Maybe we could. So that's what's changed my mind.
And this is a comment to our earlier point. Remember, Congress has a slush fund to pay off their Me Too issues. Yuck. That's so gross.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What did somebody say that so-and-so, someone has Soros bucks? I missed that one. One of the
that's Maya Wiley.
How is this common knowledge?
Because she's a far leftist. She is.
Okay.
It's true.
So anybody far left, it's safe to assume that they're Soros sort of sponsored.
Probably, if not, they're in the same world, right? I mean, most people actually don't get the money directly in any way, right? You couldn't draw a straight line from him to almost anybody. I mean, some you could, but most you can't. Most it's a crooked line that goes like that and then somehow gets there for most people. But, in general. Yeah.
Comment from the chat. Some comedy spots are requiring proof of vaccination for all. Yeah, I mean, this is happening already. Like before these DeBlasio put this out. I know the Comedy Cellar does. I know Stand Up New York requires proof of vaccination. I know the Comedy Store in LA does, which is upsetting because I'm going there in October and I probably would have performed there. But you know, you can't force people to do this, and you can't force the fans to do it. And yeah, there's ways to, like, maybe sneak around this thing, but I'm already put myself out there as like this public person who has these opinions, so I might as well kind of try to lead by
There is a
example.
very important rule you should follow. No matter what, you should follow this rule. Never, ever lie on a government form or to a government agent. Ever. They will always get you on. It's better to admit murder than to get caught lying about murder. I'm not joking. Because they have to prove you murdered someone. Right? But they don't have to lie, you lied. That's it. Done. On paper.
Wow.
You're going away. If you lie, you're going away. If you notice how people get caught, most of them go away because they lied. Not because they did something bad, because they lied. So no matter what you do, never lie to a government agent or on a government form ever, no matter what. Better to not say nothing, do nothing, but never lie. Better to do the crime because they might not be able to get you on the crime, which means they'll negotiate, but they got you on the lie. No negotiation. You're going away. So never lie ever. Yes.
Okay.
Ever.
So for everybody who's marking up their height on their driver's license, that was for you.
That was bad. Don't do that. So did you know you were actually only 5'6" and not 5'9", Chrissy? Did you know that? Did you? Oh, that's lying on a government form. Perjury. Away you go.
Oh,
I know you killed 6 people, but we can't prove that. So you'll get away on that one.
The thing is, like, yeah, you shouldn't have to lie because these should not be mandates. This is unconstitutional.
Yes.
And it's a slippery slope. Like, if this is okay, then what's coming next? So they can just fill you up with endless boosters of whatever for whatever strain, which may or may not be caused by the vaccines themselves. Who knows? Nobody trusts their leaders or the press anymore. It's a mess.
Charlene asks a very important question. She says, are all lives punishable? On government forms? Yes. To government agents? Yes. Not all lies. To government agents and on government forms.
Yeah, you can lie to your husband, Charlene.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Yes. Keep telling him that he looks great in that shirt.
He does look great in that shirt.
Tell him it brings out his eyes. Yeah.
There we go. Yes, absolutely. Yes, 100%. So to a government agent, they will get you. On a government form, they will get you. Yes. But just lying, no. It's not always punishable. Not always.
Yeah. Tell him you almost came.
If you're going to lie, say it was the best ever. Chrissy, get your story right. If you're going to lie, say it was amazing.
It was so amazing. I'm just so quiet in bed.
You're quiet because you went someplace else. It was existential. That's what happened. See?
Wow, I like this. This podcast is taking a very interesting turn from Fat Freddy's cat. Don't ever talk to the police.
Yes, I agree. Yes, Freddy's right. Don't talk to him. 100%.
I have my girlfriend, Riz Flex. Like, the FBI came to her house. We were at the 6 together, and the FBI showed up at her house, and she's like, "I showed up at the door. I had my guns on me. I didn't say shit." I was like, oh. And they just left. I was like, "Damn, girl!" Like, she knew how to handle that situation.
Absolutely. When they go, "Can I come in?" You go, "Do you have a warrant?" "Well, no, I just want to know if we can come in." "No, didn't. You may not."
"What do you want? Am
I being detained?" "No." "Have a nice day, officer." That's it. Yes. Have a nice day, officer. Yeah. That's all. 100%.
People are always tagging the FBI and myself on tweets, and I'm like, yeah, they still haven't shown up. They haven't come to any comedy shows. I would give them comps. I would give them autographed headshots, but
you think they haven't come.
Oh.
You think. Let me give you one more thing. Okay. Just so I'm giving your audience a little bit of good stuff.
I should be writing this down.
If anybody comes to you who you don't know extremely well and asks you about helping them commit a crime, they are an FBI agent. Guaranteed.
Oh, no.
Guaranteed.
Wow.
Guaranteed.
That's a hot tip.
Yes. Unless you know them very well, if all of a sudden some guy says, "Hey, Chrissy, thinking about, doing some damage here or there." You go, "Really?" "Yeah. Look, officer, I would rather you not talk to me about this. Just he's an agent, right? Or he's an informant. He's either a CI or he's an informant, or he's an agent. Guaranteed. That's how it works. Every time. Every time. Just if anyone asks you about committing a crime, they're a confidential informant trying to get their life back, or trying to get a lower sentence or something, and they're going to sacrifice you on their altar so that you can go to jail for them instead.
Wow.
They'll do that. Happens
maybe
all
I
the
should
time.
check my Instagram DMs. Who knows? Maybe I have some offers.
Absolutely. Yep.
I don't know. I'm not a big enough
either
target.
An agent or an informant. Yes.
I'm not a big enough target, but I would be
no
flattered.
Such thing. Oh no. This doesn't matter. As long as they can get a collar, they don't care. They don't care. They don't care what you are. Interesting. They put poor kids in jail, rich kids in jail. They don't care. As long as they can get a collar. Remember, they have to validate their existence.
A fake redhead, even.
Absolutely.
Ruben back. People will have a rude awakening. The dollar is. I was about to say the dollar menu isn't real. I must be hungry.
The dollar menu is very real. Come on, Ruben.
The dollar menu is the only thing that is real right now. The dollar isn't real.
Now. So real.
You can get a double cheeseburger. The dollar isn't real. A Bretton Woods event. I don't even know who that is. Will remove the dollar as the reserve currency. The Fed and IMF will go digital and track all our spending. Skynet.
Not yet, Ruben. You are too early. That's not true yet. We're not there yet. But is that the future? Yes, I think you're right. The future is some type of coin. That's the future, some type of coin, because you have to reboot the dollar, right? The dollar eventually is going to be useless whenever that happens. It's not yet, Ruben. I think my gut tells me we have at least 10 more years, if not 20. That's my gut. I could be wrong on that, but it's going to be a while. What will happen is eventually we won't have the stomach to bomb people anymore, or the Chinese or the Russians become too effective in their cyber attacks against us, one of the two. And when those things happen, eventually we'll have to reboot the dollar. And how we'll reboot the dollar? The dollar is real. And what I mean by that is it's backed by something. And what is it backed by? U.S. Marines, nuclear arsenal, bomber jets, right? It's backed by our military right now. And we will eventually reboot the dollar, whenever that is. We might reboot another physical dollar, a fiat currency again. It's possible. But my gut says we'll probably go cryptocurrency, unless our cyber is so weak that we fear an attack by Russians and or Chinese, which is we might just go back to fiat. And we'll just say the dollar is now this. And they'll go, well, no, we're going to lose money. Yes, but if you don't take this dollar, we're going to bomb you. So take the dollar, or we go to war with you and bomb you and stuff. Whatever logic we come up with. We'll have some kind of story like that. We will use absolute gunboat diplomacy, which we've been using since the 1800s. We'll use that to reboot the dollar in some way. That's what I think. But Ruben, I don't think it's that soon. Just my gut. America isn't ready for it. The population isn't ready for it yet. We have to have a population that's ready for it. You're seeing right now a war on cash already. And they've used COVID to assist the war on cash.
Oh, I can't touch your dirty dollars.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. So Ruben's right. The direction is correct. I just don't think it's that soon. You have to get Americans to hate using the dollar first. And that is happening, right? Less and less people are using the dollar. We're using nothing but swiping credit cards or transferring money. And that's all ones and zeros anyway. So eventually that becomes the new thing that Ruben's talking about. I just don't think it's yet, is all I'm saying.
Interesting. I think for rebooting the dollar, what we should do is take it out, blow on it.
Yeah.
Put it back in.
Yeah.
Press start.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
I like that idea. Let's do that. Ruben, she's got the plan. She got the plan. Let's do that. That's it.
Oh boy. Okay, another super chat in here. These things fly by me.
You better super chats. You better pay attention.
I know.
Those are your super chats.
I haven't missed any today, I don't think. Torgo the White, when a federal agent tries to manufacture a crime with you. Ha ha ha. Nice try, Fed boy. I'm going to use that word for word.
Absolutely. Yes, 100%. I would just ask, are you an informant or an agent? Which one?
Yeah. Are you going to buy me dinner? What's in this? What is in this for me?
Exactly. If I'm going down for you, what do I get?
Yeah. Are you going to go down for me? And then
you going down for me?
I'll point at my crotch. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe. Hey.
That's what I'll do. If I encounter an FBI informant I'm going to just creep them out so much to the degree where they will bail. Just be a creepy lady.
That's not bad.
Matthew Hammond. Could U.S. states start their own currencies and trade between each other? I am thinking it would be backed by silver.
Actually, some states, their constitutions allow for an in-state only currency. I know Utah has that. South Dakota has
Mormon
that.
bucks?
They actually have. It's called goldback. I forgot what it's called. Something they do have their own money. You can do that. It is legal to do, and sometimes they do it. So yes, but can they legally trade between each other? No, that's against the law. Anything that goes outside of a state has to be U.S. Government currency. So they officially cannot. Will people do it? They could. What would have to happen is you would have to go across the border, trade physically in that state for it to be legal. So if you transferred funds, that would officially be illegal. You have to physically go to the state, transfer the funds within the state, then move to the other state, and then transfer the dollars into the new currency, the state currency. And then whoever has the new currency has to go back to that, right? So that you could do it, but oh my God, it would be a disaster. And the question, of course, would be who's following you. But if you got caught doing that, you go to jail for life. I'm not even joking. You would go to jail for life.
Really? Well, what would be your charge?
My example is the guy who built the Silk Road, Ulbricht. He basically said, I'm going to have a currency in a market outside of America. They gave him, is it 4 consecutive life terms? Something like that. Whoa. And he was 20-something. He was 20-something.
Crap.
Yes. He committed no other crime. He didn't kill anybody, didn't sell any drugs to anybody. He built the Silk Road.
This is like a very nerdy crime, it sounds like.
It is, but remember something here. The state is like a religion, right? Your crime is always heresy. That's always the actual crime. And that's one of the worst crimes. Saying that the United States government's money is not real money, that's like one of the worst crimes. It's like saying the Pope isn't real. If you're Catholic.
He could be put away for that super chat.
No. He could talk. That's a question. Okay. But let them catch somebody do something like that. They'll go to jail for life. And the reason I do it also is to show people you can't do this. You are now an example. Okay. People are afraid of Silk Road and the dark web because of Ross Ulbricht. They're afraid.
When did this happen? I've never heard of this person.
20. Is it 16? No. It's like 18.
Wow.
I don't remember. A couple years ago. 2 years ago?
You can also get in trouble for burning money. Interesting.
Yes.
But nobody cares if you burn a flag. Interesting.
Yes, you can get in trouble for burning money too. Yeah, absolutely.
What if it's that old? Like, what if it's like ripped? What if it's got someone's like phone number all over it?
There is a rule. I forgot what. I think it's if you have 75% of the dollar, you can trade it into the bank.
Oh, okay.
I think there's some. I think it's 75%. There is a rule. There is a rule on this. Jay says it's 2013. That was like 2015 or so. Anyway, but whatever.
Jay says 2013. Yeah. Okay. He was arrested. Interesting.
So they probably put him away in 2015 then maybe. But yeah. If you show up at a bank, there's a certain percentage of the dollar that has to exist. If that amount of the dollar exists, they will give you a new dollar.
What happens
or a new bill?
What happens to like that remaining quarter of the dollar?
They assume a dog ate it.
What if you combine like 4 corners of a dollar and then trade that in?
Well, if they could somehow find out that those were, I don't know how they would do it, but maybe they have a way that those two, they're all 4 separate dollars. That's counterfeit. You're counterfeiting.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Federal crime.
You're just treating a dollar like a starfish, basically. You're taking a leg off and then it's going to regrow.
Can't do it.
Wow.
Can't do it.
I don't know.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare attack my cathedral. Don't do that.
I would not.
Yes.
I don't know. I wouldn't have I'm not going to do that. I just think it's a funny idea.
That's good. Don't do that. Bad idea.
No.
So yes.
I'm too busy already.
But my thought process on Cuomo maybe not actually leaving is because I think some people may be afraid that a far left person will step in. If I was Cuomo right now, I'd be calling everybody and saying that. If I was Cuomo now, I'd have everyone in my team and me. I'd be calling every Democrat going, you want Maya Wiley as the next governor and maybe president? You want that? Well, then let me go under. I'm the only one standing between her and New York State. That's what I would be saying.
What are they afraid
every moderate
of?
Democrat.
What are they afraid of with a Maya Wiley?
They're afraid that the Democrats are afraid. See, not all of them, but the savvy ones get it. They should have, in theory, just swept Republicans in 2020. They should have just destroyed them in 2020, and they didn't. And they thought they were gonna, and they think they should have. Now, James Carville was like, it's because of all your dumb woke stuff. That's my James Carville impression.
That's pretty good.
It's because of all your woke stuff. That's what he's mad about that tremendously. And he's right. When you are too far left culturally, you turn off any Democrats that are socially conservative. They get turned off. They don't want to deal with it anymore. And they saw either checking out, which means now you don't get that vote, or voting someplace else. Right? Voting someplace else. So they're worried if that happens. Why do you think Bernie didn't win? I tell this story often. I had a buddy of mine. This guy was a 100% Hillary supporter in 2016. Like, wore the I'm with her sticker, gave her money. Literally, where's Carville? Shut up. I don't like you no more. I used to like him. I'm kidding. It's fine. I don't care. I'm not a good person.
I'm going to boot him. No.
It's fine. Please keep up. I'm kidding. I'm teasing. It's all good. It's all good. So this guy literally had a picture of him and her. He would go to her event. He had a picture of him and her on his desk. Voted for her in 2016. When 2020 was around and they were still in the primary season, when people thought Bernie might win the primary and not Biden when they weren't sure, he said, Larry, if they pick Bernie, I'm voting Trump.
Wow.
That's what he said. Now, this guy's a Democrat. He is a Democrat. But he's a Democrat who just wants status quo. Mm-hmm. That's what he wants. And most Democrats that's why they didn't like Trump. Trump was not status quo. They wanted can we just go back to like when Bush was a Republican, like we just bombed some brown people and that's all we did? Can we just go back to that? They want that. That's what they like Biden, because they think he's a status quo guy. Trump wasn't status quo. Bernie's not status quo. They don't like that. So I think that's the point that I think Cuomo is going to want to try to tell Democrats.
Okay.
Look, you want status quo? Come to me. I'll give you status quo. You let the far left people jump on board, you're going to lose the next 5 elections.
I'll give you status quo and I'll grab your boob. How about
I'll grab your boob or your butt, whichever you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not greedy. I just like grabby. I'm just Governor Grabby.
Yeah, I'm Italian. I grab everyone.
I grab everybody. Personal. I grabbed Al Gore's boob. It was just what I did. Al Sharpton's butt, grabbed them all. Exactly. Yes.
And guess what? They all have nipple rings too. Bet you didn't think that.
It's a little club they got.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, super chat from Frank Pellegrino, friend of the show. Since Larry is not only a veteran and a libertarian, how does he feel seeing citizens burning the U.S. flag?
It's a great question. And I lived in Japan for many years. And I was a teacher there. And my students would sometimes say things like, hey, Larry, why in the world do you Americans get so mad when you burn the flag? Nobody gets mad when they burn a Japanese flag. That's why nobody burns the Japanese flag.
Because it's a crappy flag. It's like not even, it's a red dot. Big deal.
They don't care. They go, whatever, I don't care. And I said, well, you don't understand something, right? In Japan, you are linked by many things. Almost all of you speak the same language. Almost all of you go to the same schools. Almost all of you the same religion. Almost all of you watch the same TV shows. Almost all of you eat the same foods. It's very common. You guys are connected by many things.
They have chopsticks. Yeah.
Yes, many things. Yes. The breakfast they have, right? I mean, it's a common thing. Americans don't have that. We are not connected that way. We are connected by our principles and our symbols. Symbols are a thing for us. An American flag is a symbol of unity for us. So yeah, it bothers us tremendously. Of course it does, because it's a symbol of who we are. It's what holds us together. It's an insult to us. We can't stand it. So when Frank says, how do I feel? I hate it, but it should be legal. I understand it and I let it happen, even though I personally hate it. I would never do it. I have a flag that my father was a veteran also. I have my my father's three-pointed flag he got when he died. I still have it. And of course I hate it. I'm still a Marine, right? I still am that. And of course I hate it. But it doesn't mean that I would put anybody in jail for it. I think you shouldn't do it. I can't stand it. It makes me angry. It makes me angry when people turn their back on the flag. I still stand at attention. I still do it. I still stand at attention when I hear the national anthem. You know, people at the end of the national anthem often clap. They start, and the home, and they start clapping, right? Yeah. I don't. I'm still locked in attention because I'm a Marine still. And I haven't been a Marine in 25 years. And I still do it. So, of course, I hate it, Frank. But as a libertarian, you can do it. Yeah. I'm not doing it. And I'm not going to be happy when I see you do it. And I might let you know, Frank, that I'm not happy.
It's very cringy. It's just like, ugh. I always it's like the same feeling I felt when I saw a TikTok of a baby getting a freaking nose swab. I just was like, this feels so wrong. Why?
Yes.
Why?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So symbols are important for us. They are. They're important for us. It's the American thing.
It kind of sometimes feels like all we have, especially when we're so divided.
Well, I say that this is the problem that I think we really do have, which is we have an unnecessary, is it dichotomy? Which is we think we either are a nation of laws or a nation of men. Have you heard that before? Are you a nation of laws or a nation of men? I guess we say nation of people now, but whatever. Are we a nation of laws, nation of men, right? What are we on the other? And I say that's a terrible dichotomy. And we actually think that, well, a nation of laws matters. Imperial Japan was a nation of laws. I'm not impressed. Tsarist Russia was a nation of laws. I'm not impressed. They were crappy laws. What people don't realize is in World War II, we fought fascists, right? Yeah, but they were democracies. Germany was a democracy. Hitler was voted in. Japan was a democracy. These are just broken democracies that became fascist states because they were broken democracies. Wow. Because while they were nations of laws, one thing they weren't a nation of, they weren't a nation of principles. Laws change, men die. Principles are forever.
That should be on a t-shirt.
Yes, it should. So we should do that. If anyone on my team's watching the show, do that t-shirt. Men die. We can maybe do people.
Wait, laws change, men die. Principles
are forever. So if we have a nation of principles, now we're set. Because principles can bring together regardless, right? Regardless. It's like the golden rule, right? But I'm going to go further. We want the platinum rule, which is not do unto others as you would have be done upon yourself. Instead, do unto others as they want to be done upon. That's the platinum rule.
That sounds very libertarian.
Rule, yes, it is. The golden rule is do unto others as you would have done upon yourself. No.
Yeah, not everybody wants that.
Correct. Do unto others as they want to be done upon. Right? People are saying that, and this is a weird one, but I'm going to give Cuomo a little bit of a break, I guess, in a way. People are saying Cuomo's creepy because he likes young women. I don't have a problem with that. If young women turn you on, that's
they're on board with him. If they like him back, great.
Absolutely. But the problem is he used his position of power to do that. He was dating and impressing and pushing on women who couldn't go anywhere. Now, if he just wanted to go to a college town and pick up young girls, that's a little creepy, but so what? If the girls are into it and they want to hang out with a 60-year-old man and they're 20, you know what? Enjoy that. Do you enjoy?
Yeah.
But he wasn't doing that. He was literally punishing people around him who couldn't escape. That's the problem. And that's why I say do unto others as they want to be done upon. If you're some 20-something, let me go back to our former governor who got in trouble, Spitzer. Spitzer got in trouble because he brought a sex worker from across state lines into New York. Now, while that's not good, but there's only one reason why it's not good, because he used to prosecute people for that.
Oh, wow.
He was the AG. He was a prosecutor. He put people in jail for that. Now, if he didn't put people in jail for that, I actually have no problem with that at all. The woman she wanted to. She was a sex worker. She was happy to do it. She's like, yeah, pay me the cash.
Keep the change.
Keep a change. We're good. Done. Mm-hmm. Let's go do this. Now, if you're okay with that, good on you. You want to, play some game with some older guy and you're 20-something? On you. Do you. No worries. That's not what Cuomo did. What Cuomo did was worse. What Cuomo did was worse than what Clinton did. Now, Clinton used his power too, but Monica did want it. She was consenting, right? She did want to be with him, even though what he did was bad because he used his power to influence her, and that was wrong. So he was still wrong. But at least Monica wanted it. She was consenting at least. None of the people Cuomo was hitting on wanted it. They were all
creeped out.
Non-consenting. Yeah. Terrible. Terrible.
What a blow to your ego. You're like, man, really? None of you were into this? Even
exactly.
You? God damn it.
Don't some of you want this? Come on.
Yeah. You didn't even like it a little bit? Really? Not at all? Jesus.
I know. He must be terrible. But I would tease people all the time. When I would do my Tuesdays with Andy, and I would say things like, I would watch his show, and he would say something like, oh, and then people are telling me, and I would say, stop. No one's telling you. You don't have any friends. Stop acting like you have friends. You don't have any. And guess what? I was right. He has no friends. How do I know that? Because no friend tried to hook him up with somebody.
Oh, right.
Right? And, right? Mm-hmm. If I got a friend like him, if he's my buddy, and he's the governor of New York, and he's my man, I'm going to be throwing women at him, aren't I? I'm going to be talking to all my friends. Hey, Chrissy, you want to talk to the governor?
Yeah. Do you like nipple rings?
You like nipple rings? You want the nipple rings? Yeah. I got somebody for you. Right? I mean, I would be doing that. I'd be hooking him up. I'd be doing that. And not just that. Now that he's in trouble, where are his friends? Who's behind him? And the example I'll give, the most important one, most of your audience won't remember this. This is from the late 70s. There was a Monday Night Football on TV. Used to be one of the most popular TV shows in the 70s. Everybody watched Monday Night Football. It's a real big deal. And there was an announcer, Howard Cosell. And at one point, Howard Cosell, when he saw a play being run, the running back happened to be black. And he said, look at that little monkey run. Everybody was like, what? Oh my God, that's racist, blah, blah, blah. Howard Cosell's career could have been over. But two things saved him. One was a little bit, the second was the home run. The first one was he happened to have a Super 8 camera with audio to where he said exactly the same thing about his nephew.
Okay.
He happened to have that. That was the saying he used. When his nephew was running around, he was like, oh, look at that little monkey run, right? He was teasing.
Right.
But he had one more important thing. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was his friend. And Muhammad Ali stepped up and said, Howard Cosell is not a racist. Wow. I know him. He's not a racist. Now, when Muhammad Ali says you're not a racist, case closed. Done. Okay. Walk away. Nothing to see here. Right? Everyone's out. And now I'm not saying that could happen now. But where are his people? Where's the Al Sharpes and Jesse Jacksons of the world? Why aren't they right now going?
Where are all the celebrities that were kissing his butt?
Yes, where are all those people who were saying, where's Stephen Colbert, who was all about Cuomo? I mean, I thought they were ready to, kind of kiss. I mean, they were like really into it, right? Where are those guys? All those guys who loved him. Where's Spike Lee, who was all about him?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't they there saying it? And it was my point. He never had any friends. He's a bad guy. He's a monster. He's a bad human being. And that's why people say, well, Larry, you don't beat up other Democrats or other Republicans you don't like. I said, no, because I don't think they're bad people. I think they're wrong, but they're not bad people. He is. He's a bad human being. He's a monster, worthy of all the pain that he's getting now, deserving of all of it. Every bit. If he's in pain and crying and feeling bad, he deserves all of it. Every single bit. I have zero regret. I hope he's feeling terrible right now. Because what bothers me more than anything is some of those 11 women will get some type of closure. They'll get something. They'll get a little bit back. They'll get something. Still terrible. But my worry is, think of all the young women who left. Think of all the, and this really bothers me. Think about if it were you, Chrissy. Who would you have to be if you were 23, 24, 20 years old, 25, rushing in to try to work for the governor? You would be someone who had busted your rump in college, tried your best, believed in the system.
Especially with the women. You're like a people pleaser. You're trying to be agreeable. You're not making any waves. You're not taking lunch. You're doing everything you can to be the best. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. That's who you would be. And now you go there and you're in a governor's office. Oh my God, you're going to change the world.
You're wearing a tight shirt. You're doing everything you can to keep your job.
But see but that's the point that bothers me. You shouldn't. You should just be good at what you do. And you went there because you thought I could work hard and show people I'm great and make impact. But then you realized if you're not hot enough, he won't even see you. And if you are hot, he still won't see you. He'll just see your boobs or your butt. He still won't see you. So how devastated are all those probably dozens of women who really could have done something with their life and moved forward in their career, and they're crushed? That bothers me tremendously.
That's true.
Tremendously.
Because you have daughters. That's why you think about that.
I do. Well, not just that. That, yes. And I have a wife who spent many years in the workforce. And when His Majesty allows me to work in New York City, I'm a consultant and I help people hire and fire. And I realize that in today's world, most of the talent right now in anything that is college related, and then that's white collar, all the talent's female. Females, all the talent. They've got all the degrees. They've got all of the credentials. All the talent's female. I know. Sorry, guys. I'm making you feel bad. I'm just telling you where it is. That's where it is. Women have been killing it in academia. They've been killing it with credentialing. They've just been killing it. And they're the talent. So now I'm breaking all that talent down. I don't get to have that talent. And these are people who want to do well and be happy. Sometimes it depends on the person, but a lot of people, part of their pride is their profession. So now I'm trashing the pride of all these women. I need women to have more pride. I need women to have more self-confidence, not less, right? I need them to have more. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm talking.
You sound like a male feminist. No, you're saying all the right things. Okay, one more super chat from Matthew Hammond. Why do libertarians support open borders and the destruction of the manufacturing base by importing legal and illegal immigrants and bad free trade deals?
Matthew, you just made that up. It's not true. You literally just made that up.
Fake news.
Yeah. Libertarians want to destroy manufacturing bases. They don't want to do any of that stuff, right? Are there some libertarians that open borders? Yes, that's true. That's accurate. And the reason, but what they actually want is complete open borders with everything that everyone can go back and forth and everybody grows. It's the idea. The problem, and the reason why, in theory, I'm open borders, in theory, but in reality, I'm not. I'm not an open borders libertarian. Because the world can't function that way. Because you're right. If we just open the borders, we have lots of problems, right? The system isn't prepared for it at all. But the idea is a good idea. And the idea is, shouldn't we all be free to go where we want to go, to work where we want to work? And can it work? It can. And there's an example of it. And that's the UK. The UK is 4 separate countries, right? Scotland, Wales, and England. They are 4 separate countries. But their borders are open. Why? Because their cultures are similar enough. Their language is similar enough, even though Welsh is a very different language, but still it's similar enough for them, right? And they have a similar currency, so they can function. If we could move our world to be like that, open borders is great. We're just not there right now, right? We're just not there. We're not there. I hope one day that we will be there. I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime. It'd be amazing if it could be in my lifetime. I'd love to see it. But right now I don't see it. So I don't think that's true. You're walking down a road assuming that libertarians want to destroy everything. They don't. They just like the idea of people being free to go where they want to go, which is a wonderful idea. But I'm not open borders. And most libertarians who are running for office actually aren't. Most activists are.
Okay, so these sound like, are these maybe stereotypes of libertarians here that he's mentioning? Yeah.
Yep. It's like saying every Democrat wants to kill babies. There are Democrats who are pro-life, right? They're Democrats, or the reverse. Every Republican is racist, or every Republican hates women because they're pro-life, right? I mean, these are all just stereotypes.
Interesting. All right, cool. Wow, there's a lot of so many comments in the chat. Thank you, chat. Thank you for the super chats, everybody. Larry, any final thoughts here? As I've kept you a half hour longer than I promised, but this was great.
You can keep me as long as you want, always. Always for you.
This was a great conversation. You're the best.
Absolutely. Yes, everything you like. I guess the last piece I'll bring is I'll cover one piece that someone asked in the chat. Can libertarianism bring people together? 100% yes. One of the reasons why I'm such a libertarian and why I still believe in the party, even though the party is an absolute disaster, and the party is a disaster. I'm not playing it is. However, even though it's a disaster, it is still the best absolute best chance for success. It's the best chance for success. So that's why I'm a libertarian. Why? Because we allow people as a libertarian, as a movement, to just do you. You can be as liberal as you want to be, as conservative as you want to be. Just let people be people, right? And I think that's the only way. The example I'll give you is last year when George Floyd dies, the right yells back the blue, the left yells defund the police. But no one does anything. They just get mad at each other, right? They get mad at each other. The only libertarian we had in Congress was Justin Amash. He's the only one. We had one. He said, hey, how do we do something about this? And he said, how about we start with the idea of ending qualified immunity? Not just for cops, for everybody, even judges and government people. Let's end qualified immunity. Let's do that. So we had, because he's the only one, he had to go across the aisle to Democrats, Republicans, and get people. And he actually created the first tripartisan bill ever. He created that last year. That's when it happened. And of course, Nancy Pelosi and at that point, Mitch McConnell both said, no, libertarian, go to hell. He said, no. But he crossed the aisle. Right now, be a Democrat, try to cross the aisle. You lose your seat. Be a Republican, cross the aisle. You lose your seat. The only way to heal is a third party. And the largest third party is the Libertarian Party. And the only party where you don't have to convert. You can still be liberal or conservative and be libertarian. You don't have to convert. You can stay who you are. You can still do that. The only party that does that is the Libertarian Party. So to answer that question, yes. And if you don't believe me, check out all my goodies on the Sharpe Way. Good plug, right? The Sharpe Way on all the interwebs.
What do you think of Dave Smith potentially running for POTUS?
I saw him in South Dakota. I like Dave. I saw him in South Dakota. He was emceeing stuff. He's doing great. I like Dave.
You would support him? You think he'll run?
Do I think he'll run? I don't know, to be full with you. I don't know Dave that well. I know him as a good acquaintance, but like we're not buddies, so I don't know him that well. My gut says that he might, because the thing to realize, being an activist is being an activist, and Dave's a very good activist, right? But once you run, it changes your life. Once you run, people see you differently, they treat you differently, and they attack you differently. It's a different way of doing things. Being a candidate is not being an activist. It's two separate hats. And once he sees that, I don't know him well enough to know if he'll say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to do it, or go back to being an activist, which he's already good at. So I don't know. I wish I had a better answer for you. I just don't know him well enough. He might just be like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's get in. He might be fine with that. I don't know. But being an activist is different than being a candidate. You see how I speak. You see what I talk about. I don't talk about theory. I talk about policy constantly. I'm always talking about policy, how things actually work, what can be actually done. That's how a candidate speaks. An activist doesn't. An activist goes, get rid of the government. Does that, which is fine. That's a good thing to do. We need activists, but that's not a candidate. A candidate has to be able to understand what's going on, talk about what's going, understand a two-party system, understand electoral politics, all those things. That's why I don't focus on activism. I focus on politics.
Do you think Dave sounds more like a candidate right now or more like an activist right now?
I think right now he's activist, but he's got a couple years. He's still got 2 years to hone himself. And activists are popular. That makes any sense. There's advantage to being an activist. You can become very popular. The question is, do you want to shift? Right? Because now once you shift, now you have to take policy issues. And most people get angry at me for things like I just said. I'm not open borders, right? A candidate can't be open borders because it doesn't work. An activist can be. So once you shift into candidate, you can't just go open border. You have to have an actual policy. And I do. I have a policy that talks about 2 separate privately held Ellis Islands on the borders. So I have to create my own policies now, right? When you're an activist, not required. So I don't know if he's there yet. I don't know. To be forward, I wish I knew him better. I don't know him well enough to know. I could be completely wrong, and he may be prepared completely with everything. It's possible. But I feel like he's being an activist now, which is wonderful. We need activists. They're important. So, yeah, I think he's going to have to, at one point, if he wants to run, shift into policy mode. And maybe he will. And if you start seeing him do it,
then you know.
He's starting to run. If he starts moving into policy mode, you'll be like, okay, He's going to run.
So other than you yourself shifting into policy mode, like how else did your life change when you became a candidate? Like you talked about, you mentioned like you got attacked differently.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Once you become popular, that's when they attack. Right. I remember this actually happened. It's Western New York. I forgot when it was. Maybe it was like, I don't know, June of 2018, something like that. Maybe July in that area, summer. And they're doing an interview in Western New York. And Molinaro, who was the Republican candidate, is being interviewed. And one guy interviewed him and says, "How are you going to make impact in Western New York? This is Sharpe country." And the second he said that, all of a sudden, the Republicans got an extra $1 million into their coffers. All of a sudden, I was a Cuomo plant. All of a sudden, I was anti-2A. All of a sudden, I was anti-cop. All of a sudden,
Holy
the attacks
shit.
came out. So yeah, it was terrible, but it actually was good for me. And why was it good? Because they don't know any better. They attack me because they only know how to do is attack. It actually didn't hurt me. There were a bunch of Republicans who didn't know who I was. So they started putting out that all of a sudden the newspapers have stories about me, about how bad I am. And most of the Republicans are like, who the hell is Larry Sharpe? They look me up and go, oh, I like this guy. So what actually happened is some people walked away from me, but most of those people were hardcore Republicans who weren't going to vote for me anyway. But a bunch of new Republicans came on board because of it. So I kind of evened out anyway. But you get attacked and you begin also to realize how the system works, which is heavily, heavily about money. It's just heavily about money. It is really, really tough. That it's you have to raise a lot of money. I raised $500,000 during my race, which was a lot of money, but the Republican raised over $3 million. Wow. And a Democrat raised $12 million. So Jesus. I got to raise like that too. So yeah, it's a big deal. So you get treated that way. And when you're running, the press and media tends to like you. The second you stop running, you're nobody. Nobody. Don't care about you at all. Not at all. Yes.
But we care about you, Larry.
I love that.
We care about the Sharpe Way.
Togo says, Larry seems to think that to be a candidate to play a two parties game. No, not at all, Togo. You know what you're talking about. You're full of crap. Absolutely not true. No, you don't have to play their game. No, you just have to have answers. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. You made that up. Stop making stuff up, Togo. You're making that up. It's not what I said. What I said is you have to have policies, right? Here's how it works so that you guys get this. And some of you who are running third party, you'll get it. If you're not running third party, who cares? But if you're not running third party, all you have to do is just be not the other guy. That's it. Literally, Joe Biden's campaign was literally, I'm not Trump. That was his entire campaign. What about foreign policy? Did I tell you I'm not Trump? What about this thing? I'm telling you I'm not Trump. That was his whole campaign. You can't do that as a third party. They just don't allow you. The game stacked against you. You cannot. You must have answers to people's problems when you run third party. You can't just come out the other guy. It does not. It's actually harder. Work. Yes, it's unfair and the answer. And what I got constantly by people who voted for me was constantly had the same thing. Larry, I asked you a question and you actually gave me an answer. I go, yeah. Yeah. So Torgo, the white, I appreciate that. The reality is you don't have to play their game. The reverse is true. If you play their game, you lose. You lose playing their game. You have to be able to actually answer questions. It's not fair. If you run third party, here's what to remember. It's not fair and you will have no recourse. Don't think, oh, well, you won't do a damn thing. They will keep you out of everything. I don't care how cool you might think you are. I thought I was really cool and it didn't matter. You're
very cool.
And it still didn't matter. So yeah, so absolutely it is unfair and that's it. I get it. And I'm not mad at it now because that's what it is. If I run again, I'll run an unfair race. It's how it works. And that's what you do. So yes.
You're so smart, Larry. Do you think you'll run again? Do you think you'll run again? Or is it too soon to?
No, I'm actually looking for money now, to be forward with you. I'm looking to see if I can get some heavy hitters to get behind me. Everything's going on hold right now with Cuomo. Like I was in talks with people now. Are you going to get behind me? Are we doing this? You know, what's going to happen here? And everything went into hold because Cuomo, people are not sure what to do. Is Cuomo going to be here? Is he not going to be here? So that's changed a couple things. So we'll see. If I get backing, I'll run. If not, why would I run just to get my butt kicked again?
Right.
Now, Do I have to win? No. But the reality of it is mainstream press, YouTubers, newspapers, they care about percentages and vote totals. That's how they judge you as valid. If I can't break 500,000 votes or 1 million votes, I'm a nobody again. Why run? I got to be able to run to make enough impact that when the campaign's over, I hope I win, obviously. But even if I don't win, then at least they'll still keep talking to me so I can keep saying this to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people, right? I can get the message out. And the reality of it is, even if I can't win, and I hope I can win, I would try to win, of course. But even if I can't, if we move the country more towards liberty, we'll have better Democrats and better Republicans. There'll still be Republicans and there'll still be Democrats. But if they're more liberty leaning, we got better ones. I'll take better. Look, I'm greedy. I want 7 billion libertarians. That's what I want. But if I can't get that, I will take better Democrats and better Republicans. I will take that.
Didn't when the last time you run, like, I mean, didn't you get, I'm totally going to misquote this, but like, didn't you, something change with the ballots with libertarians? Like something.
I did get ballot access. Yes.
Yeah.
They took it away.
They took it away?
Yes. That I'm not joking. It's embarrassingly bad, which is why I said third party. People all the time go, you third party, you should just do better. Why don't you just, if there was more candidates, you don't understand. If you're a Republican or Democrat, your party literally sues in court every year to throw libertarians off the ballot. Literally, they spend your money that you give them to sue us to get us off the ballot. So there is no option. Hard to vote for us if they won't let us be on the ballot to vote for. They literally will not do it. So the rule was in New York State, if you get 50,000 votes or more on the governor line, you get ballot access. You now can have your candidates on the ballot. That's how you earn the right to be on the ballot in New York State, right? So that's what we did. Great. I love it. We did that. I broke that by a bunch. They went, oh, did we say 50? What we meant was 130. And they just changed the number in the middle and said, too bad, you're off. And they started our party overnight. And our recourse went to the courts. We sued. And the judge said, basically, you don't matter. Almost in those words. The needs of the state are far more important than you. And the reason was because New York State's trying to make publicly funded elections. So if you have more parties, it's expensive. So you don't get your rights because it's expensive. So sorry.
Wow.
So yeah. So these guys are asking about Republicans. Let me tell you about New York State. Let me tell you my plan, Chris. Ready for my plan?
I'm ready for it. They all sound like assholes, Larry. What are we going to do?
I still love them, even if you're assholes. I love assholes, so it's fine. It's good. It's fine. All good. In New York State, we have what's called fusion voting. Fusion voting means you can run under multiple lines. You can literally be listed multiple times on the ballot. Listed as Republican, listed as Independent, listed as Libertarian. You can literally be on the ballot multiple times. So I'm actually considering running in the Republican primary. I can be a Libertarian.
Yeah.
Yes. I can be a Libertarian, registered Libertarian, which I am, and run in a Republican primary. If I win the Republican primary, I'd be listed as a Republican and a Libertarian and a conservative. I would get all three of those lines. I might get Independent. I might get Serve America Movement. I could get 3 or 4 or 5 lines against Cuomo's 2. So I am considering this. I'm not sure if I'll do it, but again, this is the talks I'm having now to see if it makes sense to do that kind of thing. But I would consider doing that.
Cool. Thanks, Matthew Hammond. Yeah, his question, why not take over the Republican Party? So if there's any people who are digging Larry right now in the chat and have a couple bucks to throw his way, I'm sure he would appreciate it. Where could they go to throw
LarrySharpe.com. Click donate. Give everything you want. Now, to be clear, the maximum you can give me is $44,000.
Okay. So don't go crazy.
Jay was like, I want to give 45,000. I'll get in trouble, Jay. Just do 44,000. Okay. Don't go nuts. 44 is fine. You go 40. You know what? For you, Jay, 35,000. Fine. Actually, $10 is fine, guys, to be forward. But 30,000 is better, but 10's fine. Or if you want to support my show, you can go to sharpeway.com, click that button and follow me on Patreon.
Awesome.
So you can do that too if you want to. So you can help me on Patreon if you want to, or you can throw money at me or nothing. All good. Whatever you like. Jay sold. See, I'm
Jay
getting
sold.
35 grand from
There we
Jay.
go.
Appreciate it, Jay.
Matthew Hammond. Yeah.
I'll be waiting for it. I appreciate it. Yes.
Yeah. Larry, you're a solid
but,
dude.
But now I'm insulted. Someone just said, wait, Chrissy's in interviewing a non-porn star? How do you know I'm not?
Exactly.
I might be.
You don't know what he's working with down there.
You don't know.
You don't
could
know.
Be. Just saying.
He could have a very niche group.
That's true.
He could be
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You never know what I got going on.
Although if you did put out a porn, Gary, Larry, I think it should be called like gold pilling, or should be like a play on words, like the gold pill.
Yeah, but gold has a different in porn. It has a different thing with gold. I'm not sure we want to go there.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
Well,
we'll figure something out.
I ended this on a weird note.
You did.
Larry, where can people follow you on social media?
Absolutely. The Sharpe Way on all of them. I even have TikTok, believe it or not. I got TikTok. I got YouTube. I got Twitter. I got all the things. You can just go to LarrySharpe.com, click on my, oh, I like that, Frank. Larry Sharpe with an E, and the E is for erection. Yes, it is, baby.
This is how you get the youth vote.
Yes, how I get the youth vote. I used to say the E was for electable when I was running. Then I say the E is for entertaining, now that I have a podcast. But I guess if I'm a porn star now, it's for erection. Whatever. That E is powerful, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Feel the E.
But anyway, head over to Sharpe Way if you want to, or LarrySharpe.com. All of those are good. I appreciate it.
Oh, and one more super chat from Babsy. You know I was kidding. I like you both. Lol.
I know. She's the one who said I'm not a porn star. I'm teasing you, of course. I'm teasing you, of course. All good. All good.
Awesome. Larry, this was a great chat. I know a lot of fans of mine who didn't know much about libertarianism, I think learned a lot in this pod. So I know you've taught me a lot. So I just appreciate you, and great talking, and can't wait to have you back soon.
Awesome. Good seeing you, chat.
Love you guys. Fuck Cuomo. Bye.